Hi, everyone. Before we get started, could you please type yes if you can hear my voice clearly? Okay, good. All right. Okay. For those who might have problems with your audio, you can check whether you have turned up the audio volume or not. If the problem persists, you may close the tab and you can re-enter. All right, good to hear that. Good to see that, okay, the audio is working here, okay. All right, so welcome to the TOEFL ITP webinar. This is a recorded session, so the recording will be available and you can find it on LBI's website. And for those attending today, there will be a certificate and it will be sent to your email, the one that you registered for this webinar. Okay, and we are going to have a question and answer session, but if you have questions during the presentation, you can ask by typing them in the chat box, but our speaker will address them at the end of the presentation. Okay, everyone, and it's almost 1 o'clock, so I'd like to invite our speaker. I'm delighted to introduce our speaker today, Endang Nandiasari. She is a teacher and also a teacher trainer. She has been teaching for more than 10 years and currently she is the manager of the foreign language program at LBI FIB Universitas Indonesia. Now she's going to present her session on TOEFL ITP and she's going to share tips and strategies on how to successfully take the test. Okay, everyone, so without further ado, I'll hand over to you, Nandia.
Thank you, Are. Welcome to the TOEFL ITP webinar organized by LBI FIB UI. I see there are many participants coming here already. 64 so far. While waiting for the others, I'm going to start the presentation with my slides already shared on the screen. If I speak too fast, please give me a signal or identify on the chat box. I would also probably ask your questions at the end of the session. Okay.
All right, and sorry, Nandia. Okay, look at the Q&A box over there, everyone. So if you have a question, please feel free to type your questions in that chat box, in the Q&A chat box. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're going to start with the first slide. I want to ask you, for the participants, to go to www.menti.com and you can use the code 402572. We're going to see a little bit of what you think, what you already know, what comes to your mind about TOEFL ITP using Mentimeter survey. Okay, I'm going to share what it looks like in the website. Okay. So please go on to www.menti.com. You can use your mobile phone. You don't have to sign up. You just need to enter the code. Silakan masukkan kodenya 402572. And you will have it like this. Yeah. Sorry, 402572, silakan dimasukkan ke box di menti.com. Okay. what I ask you to do for the mentee.com is just share what comes to your mind when you hear the name or the test TOEFL ITP. Okay, it's coming in. You can submit multiple times. Boleh beberapa kali mensubmit kata-kata atau frase yang Anda pikirkan ketika mendengar TOEFL ITP. Okay. Institutional, evaluation English, needed for study abroad. Okay. Saya akan tunggu sampai 2 atau 3 menit lagi. Silahkan di submit. Okay. There's one word popped up, the biggest, challenging. Okay. Ya, 1 menit lagi. Okay, sudah banyak yang masuk. Thank you for the word submission. Yeah. All right, very good. Thank you. You can stop and we'll see the words that you submit, most of them related to what you think about TOEFL ITP, yeah? Mainly about passive skill, okay? But you can see that the big words are challenging, test, scholarship, yeah? Hard, study, quite expensive, okay? Crazy, someone wrote crazy. And there's also an internet-based test. Okay, you might be in a different webinar. This is for TOEFL ITP, yeah, institutional testing for TOEFL, not IBT. Okay, 550, quite standard score for the TOEFL ITP. Good. And English proficiency test. Okay, very good. Yes. Now let me go back to my slide, my main slide. Thank you for submitting. So we agreed that TOEFL ITP is needed, and there are many scholarship agencies or even the universities in Indonesia and institutions use TOEFL ITP for the admission or the requirement. The TOEFL ITP that we're going to talk is the one that is published by ETS, and they claim that the test purpose, yes, it is placement, monitoring progress, evaluation, exit testing, and it could be for other situations, for example, scholarship or even job promotion. And the website in ETS still very much provide comprehensive information about TOEFL ITP. Okay, this is just a quick review on what the test structure is like. Probably most of you have seen this test structure format. And yes, someone mentioned passive skill. It is because it's tested listening comprehension, structure and written expression, and reading comprehension with a different number of questions, yeah, and different registration times. And the score scale with maximum, if it's correct, is 68 per section. So the maximum score that you could get is 677. Okay, but the question is, you already mentioned it's the most challenging test, but out of the 3 sections, which one do you think is the most difficult? Can you please go back to menti.com and go on to the next question? And with the same code, put your rank of what you think is the most difficult section in TOEFL ITP. Is it listening, structure, or reading? So you can go back to Mentimeter. Yeah. What is the most challenging section in TOEFL ITP? Okay, submissions are coming in. I will wait for several minutes for you to submit your ranking of what you think is the most difficult section. Okay. Oh, listening section is still holding number 1. Right. Yeah. 1 more minute, 1 menit lagi. Kita lihat apakah listening tetap menjadi nomor 1 yang paling susah. Baik. Oke. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Iya, betul. Untuk 140 peserta yang hadir di webinar TOEFL ITP oleh LBI ini sekarang sudah setuju dengan quick survey. Listening section is the most difficult one. Even some of the questions are already submitted. The challenges are in listening section. So hopefully our session can address some of that difficulties, especially in listening section, but we will also discuss some tips and strategies for structure and reading. Listening is the most difficult one. The second most difficult is structure. Reading, surprisingly, is the easy one or the less challenging one. Yeah. Let's go back to my main slide. Hang on. Okay, so to start with the general strategies, these are very common strategies, but along the presentation, I will give some specific tips and strategies for each section. So the general strategies are very basic. You need to be familiar with the test format. There are many students of mine ask me the same questions. How can I succeed in TOEFL? How can I reach 550 in TOEFL ITP? But they skip the instruction. They do not check the test format, and they just go on with the question without reading the instructions or directions well. So be familiar with the test format, even though it's quite a basic advice, is crucial. Okay, for example, the first direction here. Where is this from? Can you type in the chat box? Where is this directions from? From which section is it? Okay, let me repeat if my voice is breaking up. On my slide, there is one direction. Where do you think this direction is from? You can type in the chat box. Kira-kira ini bagian mana? Yeah. Listening, exactly, because you can read it. In part A, you will hear short conversation between two people. After each conversation, you will hear a question about the conversation. Direction that is very simple, but it's actually crucial. Because when you see the direction, you can see what to do, you will know what to do on the answer sheet and how you would approach the question. Okay. The next direction, where is it from? Structure. But which part of structure? Is it the whole part of structure using this direction? Apakah semua 40 pertanyaan di structure menggunakan instruksi ini? Yes, no. It is only for questions 1 to 15. Exactly. There are two directions. So the first one is, as you can see on the slide over there, is all about completion of a sentence. Yeah. Well, the second version from structure will be finding the error part in the sentence. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next one. This one is in reading section. And as you can see, you will be having 50 questions for reading. And how many minutes do you have for reading? How many minutes do you have for reading section? 55 minutes for reading section, yeah. So 55 minutes for 50 questions. So you can do 1 minute for each question and 5 minutes to check the answers, yeah. So 55 for reading question. All right, and this one. This is very, very general direction, marking answer sheet. Using 2B black lead pencil, mark only one answer. Yeah, mark your answer in the row with the same number. Carefully and completely fill in the oval corresponding to the answer you chose for each question. Even though these are cliche, believe me, those test takers, when they take TOEFL ITP, they usually miss this instruction and they need to be reminded by the test proctor. They forgot to fill in. Mereka hanya mengisi hitam-hitamnya sedikit, tidak terlalu hitam, tidak penuh, sampai waktu mereka habis. Because there are no extra time to fill in or to darken the circles in TOEFL ITP. So you need to directly fill in the circles. You cannot only nanti waktunya cek lagi. You cannot, because there are no repetition, there are no extra time, and you cannot go back to the section that you have already worked on. Okay, my voice is breaking up, so I need to turn off my video for a while. Can you hear my voice?
Yes. Okay, sorry for the technical problem, everyone. Miss Nandia is working on it. So yes, thank you for responding on the chat box. Okay, Nandia, you can start when you're ready. While waiting, you can also write your answers on the Q&A box. And later, Ms. Are, as the moderator, will help inform Ms. Nandia the questions that will need to be addressed.
Okay, so everyone, while waiting for Ms. Nandia to come back and continue the presentation, you can have a look at the Q&A box next to the share screen and record button there. So if you have questions, you can type your questions there. So the speaker or Ms. Nandia will address those questions by the end of the presentation. So let's have a look at the Q&A box there. So far we have 5 questions here. Okay. All right, so the first question, difficulty related to the listening section. So what are the tips? Luckily, Nandia is going to share some tips and tricks or strategies to deal with all the sections, although probably because we have limited time. But the listening structure and reading strategies will be discussed later on.
All right, thank you, Are. I think I'm back on.
All right.
Yes. Sorry for the technical problem. So let me turn on my video again. Thank you, Are. I will address those questions. So the next slide is still general strategies during the test. I'm just going to go with this very quickly. Yeah. So during the test, you only have limited time. Hanya 30 menit untuk listening, basically only several seconds for each question, dan hanya ada 20 menit untuk structure, only 40 questions but only 25 minutes, and tadi reading 55 minutes for 50 questions. So you have to work very quickly and carefully. Ya, you cannot spend too much on one question. Jadi kalau ada, saya share ke murid-murid saya, salah satu pelajaran dari TOEFL adalah trying to let go, learning to move on, ya. Jadi harus segera kalau udah ketinggalan satu, misalnya di listening, you just need to move on. Or if you can find difficult question in structure already, you need to move on. Maybe you can go back working on the hard questions at the end for structure. Okay, I mentioned about the answer on the answer sheet. You do not have extra time, so you always have to go directly circling the answer on the answer sheet, and you can only mark one answer. There is no penalty for guessing, so you can just, for example, you run out of time in structure, just fill in all the circles in random if you miss the question, because you cannot go back to the previous section, so you have to answer every question, and you have to pay attention to the time. And for the listening part, in the past, TOEFL paper-based cannot allow participants to take notes, but now you are allowed to take notes on the test booklet, but not on the answer sheet, okay? So use that chance to take notes for the listening section. Okay, now there are many questions. How can we improve listening? How should we go about maneuvering the listening section? Okay, so in listening section, there are 3 parts. Part A, short dialogues, there will be 30 questions, and part B, longer dialogues, but fewer questions. There are only 8 questions, and a lecture part in part C, 12 questions. Yeah. So as the time is important, 50 questions in 35 minutes, as I've mentioned, you only have 12 seconds for one question. Again, learn to move on. If you miss the listening recording, you need to move on, read ahead to the next question in listening part. Okay, the specific information about listening, you need to know what type of questions in listening. Apa sih pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang sering muncul? Ini akan sangat membantu dalam menghandle atau tackle listening question. Di part A, the most common one are meaning questions, inference, suggestion, and prediction. Okay. What does the speaker mean? What does the woman mean? Inference, maksudnya dia apa? Maksudnya si pembicara ngomong ini apa? So those are the most common question in part A. There are 30 questions in part A, and it's shorter. So you should work very hard in answering and listening to the meaning of the speakers in part A. Yeah, but it's different with part B and C in listening. Part B and C are mostly about topics and detailed in longer conversation and lectures or talks. Okay, we're gonna try. Okay, I'm gonna play one recording. This will be the option. So when you already are able to go on to the page yang ada answer choicesnya, you will see it like this, right? So you want to see all the options, read ahead, and then listen to the ones that are not with similar sound. I mean, choose the one that are not with a similar sound. Okay, I'm gonna play the recording in a moment. Try answering the question, okay? Which one would you choose for this first question? A, B, C, or D?
Here's an example. On the recording, you hear,
I don't like this painting very much.
neither do I.
Oke, itu baru cek sound. Apakah terdengar? Can you please type in yes? Oke, saya cek lagi soundnya.
What does the man mean? In your test book, you read A, he doesn't like painting either. D,
Oke, saya akan mengencangkan volumenya.
C, he doesn't have
Ini masih cek sound. Ya.
D,
Belum
he doesn't know what
pertanyaannya.
to do.
Apakah
You learned
sudah?
from the conversation that neither the man nor the woman likes the painting. The best answer to the question, what does the man mean, is A.
Oke, apakah sudah cukup keras suaranya? Okay, that's still better than before. Okay, good. So, take a look at the question again, A, B, C, or D. I'm gonna play the audio recording. Be ready. What's the answer?
He doesn't like the painting either.
Here.
Therefore, the correct choice is A.
All right, here we go.
Go on to the next page. Now we will begin part A with the first conversation. Number 1.
Did you buy your ticket from a travel agent or from the airline?
Does it matter? They're all the same price.
What does the woman mean?
Okay, good. They're already answered. D. Okay, let me go back to my slide again. Okay, most of you answered D. It makes no difference where the tickets are purchased. Are there any different answer? Let me check. Oh, all of you answered D. Oh, excellent. So the speaker mentioned it like this in the transcript, yeah? Did you buy your ticket from a travel agent or from the airline? Doesn't matter, they're all the same price. And the question, what does the woman mean? As you've answered D, it is true that in part A, the one that you need to focus on is the speaker on the second line. Yeah, does it matter? They're all the same price. But it doesn't mean that you can dismiss the first speaker. Karena pertanyaan yang lain juga bisa didapat dari speaker pertama. Tapi memang kebanyakan speaker kedua yang memuat jawabannya. Okay? So your answer to the question, number 1, what does the woman mean? They're all the same price? Is correct. D. It makes no difference where the tickets are purchased. Okay, excellent. Let's try again. Since this is part B is a bit long, so I want you to listen, but also read the transcript. Okay, I'm gonna check the sound again for part B.
Part B, directions. In this part of the test, you will hear longer conversations.
Okay, can you hear that? Please type in okay. All right, read the transcript while you listen to the audio. Here we go.
Go on to the next page. Now we will begin part B with the first conversation. Questions 31 through 34. Listen to a conversation between a college student and his counselor.
Good morning, Steve. What can I do for you?
Well, I've decided I want to transfer to a smaller college.
I know you've had a rough time adjusting, Steve, but I'm sorry to hear you want to leave.
What I need to do now is find a new college, and I was hoping you might have some ideas.
I might, but first I think I ought to warn you about some of the potential problems with transferring. The main one is how many of your credits will be accepted by your new college.
You mean they won't all be transferable?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so just for practice round. Okay, what will be the questions? Do you remember what is the focus on part B and C? The questions are mostly about topic and detail. So the first question, why does Steve visit the counselor? Yeah, detail. Can you answer that? Is it to get help in finding a new college, to change his major, to fill out an application for college, or to find out how to change dormitories? Okay, there are already answers. Oh, but there are different answers. Okay, is it A or C? Let's see the transcript now together. Oh, sorry. Yeah. The question is, why does Steve visit the counselor? This is the first question. And if I go back to the transcript, yeah, usually it is in, so the questions usually are in order of the recording. So ketika mendengar pertanyaan yang pertama, biasanya dia akan ada di bagian pertama di listening, seperti itu. Jadi kalau kita lihat bagian pertama seperti ini, students-nya yang men ya. Well, I've decided I want to transfer to a smaller college. And the second line, the man said, what I need to do now is find a new college, and I was hoping you might have some ideas. Jadi ini di bagian pertama, pertanyaannya, pertanyaan pertama. Okay? Jadi jawabannya harusnya A, ya, A, to get help in finding, to get help in finding new college. Yes, A. Very good. Okay, so that's listening. I know you need more practices on listening. So at the end, towards the end of this session, I will share the listening practices that you can do on your own. But let's move on to the next most challenging, the second most challenging section in TOEFL ITP, which is structure. Okay, so on structure, it's not only structure section, but it is structure and written expression. Why? Because some of you, I think, already mentioned, there are two parts of structure section, ya. Yang pertama completion, yang kedua error findings. Okay, but how can we know all the structures of English in such a time? For example, you need to know basically you need to review, of course, the grammar knowledge, but in general, these are the most common questions in structure and written expression questions. First is about a sentence. What is a sentence? Sentence itu apa? Subjeknya mana? Verbnya mana? It's always the start of every question in the structure. Where's the subject? Where's the verb? Okay. Ada juga word choice, ya. Word choice artinya apakah betul kita bisa instead of atau instead on misalnya gitu. Atau word order, apakah bisa kita bilang book beautiful atau beautiful book, seperti itu word order. Dan yang lain yang juga sangat common adalah of course clauses, ya, gabungan antara dua kalimat menjadi satu, for example, are also very common. The other ones that are very common are part of speech. Apa itu part of speech? Can you type in the chat box? What are part of speech that you already know? Part of speech itu apa saja? Ya, jenis kata. Ya, is it adverb? Is it adjective? Is it verb? Those type of things. Why is it important? Because in TOEFL, verb form, word form, also very, very common. So if I say, I am happy, it will be different meaning, right? So you need to know the form of the word depends on the part of speech. Okay. Selain itu ada kata parallelism. So you need to also know if I say I can go and I went. That's not parallel karena satu present and satu past. Parallel means the same structure, present, verb, or noun. Those are parallelism. And these are the most common one, including yang paling kecil, singular, plural. Tiny s is also very common in structure and written expression question. Yeah. So moving on, if you already know what the common questions are, yeah. No. The most difficult one are this one, inversion. Apa itu inversion? You can take notes because it will not be enough to explain here, but let me just share you what the most difficult questions are based on the research. The one that I took are from Hambali and Mahmud. Yeah, there are 7 most difficult questions. Ada inversion, subject verb agreement, adverb clause connectors, passive, clauses, banyak ya tentang clauses, parallel structure muncul lagi, dan verb use. Ini yang paling sulit. Jadi setelah kita tahu yang mana yang paling sulit, lalu apa? You need to check whether you can understand the pattern, the clues in this most difficult part of questions, and then you can focus on that part. Yeah. Now let's try the structure question. First will be completion. Here we go. Take time. You only have 1 minute, okay? What will be the answer for this first question? Geysers have often been compared to volcanoes blank. They both emit hot liquids from below the Earth's surface. The answer, due to, because, in spite of, or regardless of. Most of you answer B. Let's see if there are other answers. Okay. B. Okay, very good. Why? Why B? Yes. Geysers have often been compared to volcanoes. Sudah ada subjeknya. Ya. Geyser. Geyser is the subject. Have often been compared, verb. Okay. Tapi ada lagi subject, they. Yeah. And then another verb, emit. So we cannot have subject verb dua-duaan tanpa ada penghubung. What are the connectors? There are several options. Kenapa tidak bisa due to, in spite of, regardless of? Karena A, C, D bisanya dilanjutkan dengan noun, follow by noun usually, ya. Or here we only need a simple connector, that is because. Very good. Try the second question, the next question, I mean. Let's see. Okay. Second question, this is the error, finding errors in the sentence. Try answering this question, please. Where is the wrong one? Good. Yeah, A. Yes, very good. These are very common. Seperti yang tadi saya sampaikan, verb form itu sering sekali muncul di structure. Ini adalah termasuk verb form, ya. Harusnya are, sometimes, called, ya. Are, sometimes, called. Kenapa? You cannot have two verb are called. Salah satunya pasti berubah bentuk. Misalnya are called atau are calling, tapi di sini kita harus ubah yang kedua, call menjadi called. Very good. I think you got this, ya. Verb form, very common. Let's try the second question of error findings. Okay, what will be the answer for this one? Very, very simple matter in this question. I think you got it. Oh, yes, exactly. See, very tiny. Ini hanya hilang apanya? Huruf S-nya, ya. Why? Why do we need the S? Because it's plural. We have several. So you need to add S in terms. Very tiny but very common in written expression question yang seperti ini. Okay, very good. I think you got the questions. Yes, add S for the term. Good. All right. So that is for structure and written expression. Remember, you need to know which most difficult questions that you are having weakness with, and then you can focus on that. Bisa fokus ke pertanyaan-pertanyaan itu, dipelajari lagi patternnya. Berikutnya, reading section. Ya, reading section yang terakhir, katanya sih yang paling mudah tadi ya di survei pertama, but let's see. Reading section could be hard if you don't like reading, because the passages in reading are using topics as in most university and college, which means academic topics. Yeah, if you can only if you're only used to read misalnya social media updates, it will not be enough. Yeah, because it needs topics or academic ones. Yeah, and there are 5 passages or 4 with 8, 12 questions in each passage for reading questions. Nah, seperti tadi structure ada yang most common question. Di reading section juga ada. Yang paling sering adalah main ideas, vocabulary, detail, inference, atau reference. Ya. Yang mana yang paling susah? It depends on your own vocabulary range, but usually main ideas and vocabulary are the hardest ones. Why? Because detail information, untuk pertanyaan detail pasti ada pertanyaannya, jawabannya di teks, dituliskan secara clear and not implied, ya, stated. All right. So, what's the next tip then for reading? I think you already did it, ya. It is best to glance at the possible answer choices first. Jadi tidak baca dulu, mungkin baca judulnya saja dulu, tapi fokus dulu ke pertanyaan-pertanyaannya. Kalau misalnya lemah di bagian vocabulary, bisa di-skip dulu. You can focus on the detailed questions first, ya. Oke, saya mau coba detailed questions dulu, baru fokus ke pertanyaan yang paling susah misalnya tentang vocabulary atau main idea, bisa di-organize seperti itu. Baru nanti saat mereview jawaban, Anda bisa kembali ke pertanyaan yang lebih sulit, seperti itu. Ya, oke, let's try out. Saya potong passage dari practice testnya. Take a look at these questions, passage. Saya cuma mau tanya, what is the topic about? Can you type in the chat box? Kira-kira topiknya apa sih dari passage ini? Silakan. type in the chat box if you know what the topic of the text is. Oke, ada yang sudah menjawab. Industry, American Industry Development. American Industry, very good. Terima kasih yang sudah menjawab, thank you for responding. Kita coba satu pertanyaan saja ya. Ini. Tolong diingat pertanyaannya. According to the passage, when did the United States experience a brief depression? Sebelum saya kembali ke passage-nya, keyword-nya adalah when. When and brief depression. Ya. Siap-siap, kita akan kembali ke passage-nya. Kita cari mana yang akan bisa menjawab when, brief depression. Okay, let's go back to the passage. Ada? Ada ya? Ada tahun yang disebut 1920, 1921. Ya. Oh, ada yang sudah tahu jawabannya. Ya, in the early 1920s. Very good. Ya. Okay, I'm going to skip the next one because our time is running, so we can answer more questions from you. But that is from reading sections. One important note about this. Tadi kita sudah review grammar ya, ada beberapa yang sangat common. Also we see reading questions, but take a look at this statement. Without grammar, very little can be conveyed. Kalau kita nggak tahu grammar, masih bisa lah kita tebak-tebak sedikit ya arti kalimatnya apa. But without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed. Kalau kita tidak punya vocabulary-nya, tidak ada yang bisa kita dapat. Mau ngerjain listening, structure, reading pun tidak bisa. So what is the key? The key is to build your vocabulary. Dan saya akan share salah satu quote ya oleh Charlie Batch di sini. I think I really agree with this. Proper preparation prevents poor performance ya. PP kalau mau ingat ya. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Jadi ya practice makes perfect basically, right? But how? How do we do that? English language exposure. Read more textbooks. Build your vocabulary. Yeah. Watch and listen to English programs. Ada ESL, plethora of sources in the internet atau npr.org. These are needed for your vocabulary. Why? Karena ada satu research bilang dari Cihi tahun 2013 untuk bisa mencapai 500 nilai TOEFL PBT atau ITP, you need to know around 6,000 word families, tapi bukan yang general words. You need to know 6,000 more academic or specific style, yeah, academic style word. So 6,000. Do you already have 6,000? If you don't, build up your vocabulary so you can tackle any sections in any test of English. Okay? And what is next from all the sections that we did together, review together? What is next? I will share, and you can also take a look at the TOEFL ITP Assessment Series. ITS tahun 2020 baru saja mengeluarkan informasi lengkap di websitenya. Ada its.org TOEFL ITP Level 1 ebook. Saya share coba bentuknya seperti apa, sebentar. Ya. Mereka sudah menyediakan, terutama dengan coronavirus outbreak, mereka tahu kita ada di rumah, kita butuh practices, tapi nggak bisa ke toko buku, ya. They provide this for us, the participants. So you can download the materials. Dan banyak informasi yang saya sampaikan tadi juga ada di sini, termasuk ada dua practice test ya. Test 1-nya juga ada audio filesnya. Tidak bisa di-download tapi bisa di-strip. And then the questions will be in PDF. PDF-nya seperti ini, saya share. Ya. So practice test volume 1, lumayan ya, ada 2 practice tests. Very, very beneficial for you to do practice test at home. Okay. And you can, we will share the presentation maybe through your email so you can check again and review back the points that we've discussed. Good news. You can also be ready to register for TOEFL ITP online at LBI FIB UI. Sudah banyak yang tanya, kapan ya saya bisa tes di LBI? Ya, presentation linknya nanti akan bisa di-share ke teman-teman semua. Tapi ini pertanyaan yang sangat penting, pernyataan atau informasi yang sangat penting. TOEFL ITP online sudah bisa dilakukan di LBI FIB UI setelah Lebaran. Ya, jadi kita fokus dulu. You can focus on celebrating Idul Fitri with your family, and then after Lebaran, after Idul Fitri holiday, you can prepare the registrations because this is TOEFL ITP online. It will be different, it will be different from the paper-based TOEFL ITP, so you need more preparation with the technicalities, with the internet connection, with your gadget, with your laptop or computer. So be ready to register after the Lebaran holiday. And for more information about ITP online, you can contact us at this email address, info.lbifibui@gmail.com, atau silakan tunggu informasi up to date-nya ada di website kami, lbifib.ui.ac.id. Okay? Basically, those are what I can share in the span of time. We're now going to address some of the questions. So if you do have the question, go on to the Q&A box and put your questions there. Okay, let me check the question. First question, how to check if our certificate is authentic? Is there any website to check? I think what you mean is website to check. I think you can start by taking the test in the official agency or in the official test center. Untuk TOEFL ITP yang resmi, EPN atau ETS Preferred Network di Indonesia adalah dengan IIEF, dan agensi yang lain tentu dengan LBI FIB UI. Sudah pasti TOEFL ITP di LBI FIB UI resmi, official, authentic, if you want to use that word, ya. Yeah? So that will be for the first question. The second question ada tentang TOEFL IBT. Oke, ITS sendiri sudah menuliskan di informasi di websitenya. You can take TOEFL ITP sebagai pre-IBT ya, sebagai practice, bisa seperti itu. But it will be very different. Untuk internet-based sangat berbeda. Because you will have speaking and writing, and the questions are different. It's not only multiple choice question. It will be different types of question untuk IBT. Yeah. And then there are questions about rekomendasi buku kumpulan vocabulary untuk TOEFL. Okay. If you go on to the google.com, you can keywordnya vocabulary, TOEFL vocabulary, and then you can access it from there. All books are recommended karena semua vocabulary akan sangat berguna bagi teman-teman, ya. Yeah, and there's another question. You were shocked when listening was the most challenging section. In my opinion, the most challenging section is structure, right? Because the time is limited and there are 2 different types of questions, but the most common for different groups will be different. Listening and structure are neck to neck, ya. Yang mana yang paling susah? Both of them can be very challenging. Oke, untuk rekomendasi bahan untuk meningkatkan kemampuan listening, tadi saya sudah mencantumkannya di slide. Teman-teman nanti akan bisa cek di slide saya. Oke, there's another question tentang how much time do you actually need to be able to achieve more than 500? Well, it really depends. Apalagi kalau sudah ada di plateau section of your proficiency. Misalnya sudah dari 400 ke 500 itu bisa sangat jauh lonjakannya, so you can have a big increase. Tapi kalau sudah di 500 550 biasanya suka banyak stagnant situation. It is very common. There's no other answer but to keep practicing and identify what is the most difficult part for you in each section. I think that will be for your answer on the Q&A box. And then there's also another question about TOEFL ITP Online Test Special Home Edition. Oke, secara garis besar, TOEFL ITP Online Test Home Edition itu online yang bisa dikerjakan di rumah. You can do it at home, ya, with computer and laptop that is meeting the minimum requirement. Jadi harus pakai laptop atau komputer yang persyaratannya memenuhi, tidak bisa pakai mobile phone, dan tes ITP online ini resmi dari ITS, ya, resmi dari ITS, dan secara garis besar, in general, you will use Zoom, and the question will be delivered via Zoom. And so you have to download and prepare a Zoom account untuk TOEFL ITP online. Price range untuk TOEFL ITP online-nya sendiri resmi, it will be the same with the paper-based TOEFL ITP. Untuk lebih lanjut, you can email our customer service, ya, on the slide. You can see that. Are, do I miss any questions? Is there any questions that I have not answered?
So the last 3 questions.
Okay. Ada kelas online untuk preparation nggak ya? Good question. LBI as the lembaga bahasa internasional that provide courses also provide preparation course. Jadi tadi pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang kita bahas secara sekilas, you can have it discussed more in depth at LBI courses, and the registration is online already, so you can register online in LBI's website, and you can sign in or register to our test preparation course. Yeah. All right, the last question. Right. So in general, I think it will be a general tips and trick. You need to expose yourself a lot to English, tapi bukan hanya TikTok videos in English, yeah, but it should be more academic English. It should be more variety of topics, like in National Geographic magazine. So if you don't like reading, oh, I don't like reading that much, now it's time. Since we're already at home, we have a lot of time to check useful websites or online resources. Please expose yourself more to English language. And the last question will be the language courses at LBI FIB UI for term 2 that will start in June will be blended learning, which is a combination of online and offline. But it all depends on the government instruction. Jadi kalau PSBB-nya masih berlanjut, kemungkinan besar semua courses-nya akan dilaksanakan secara daring, secara online. Tapi kalau PSBB berakhir, kita akan melanjutkan sesi tatap muka dengan kelas online sebagai sesi penunjang. So there will be, it could be blended learning or a full online sessions. Okay, I think I've answered the questions that are in the question and answer box. Are?
Okay, thank you, Nandia, for sharing to all of us the strategies and the tips to do the task more effectively. And for those who would like to get more information about the task, like task schedules, the prices, or probably if you are willing to join TOEFL courses, then you can check, you can go to www.lbifibui .lbifib.ui.ac.id. And since this webinar is also recorded, you can access the recording on the same website. Okay, so that's all, everyone. The certificate will be sent to your registered email. And oh, there is one more question here, Nandia, related to tutorial programs and courses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So LBI provides tutorial programs, not only TOEFL, but there's also test prep. You can prepare for IELTS, you can prepare for IBT, you can also prepare. I'm not ready for test prep. Yeah, I want to build my basic skills first. You can go with with our general English course. There's also English for academic purpose. So there are selections of courses that you can choose in LBI, and you can choose it based on your needs. There are also non-English course like French. Yes, French we can have. There are actually 10 language courses at LBI FIB UI, including Bahasa Isyarat Jakarta. So if you want to be good at sign language untuk Bahasa Isyarat Jakarta, LBI also has it. Yeah. All right. That will be all. The presentation slide, the recording will be shared to you. The one who already attended this webinar. I appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much for your response and questions and participation. I hope you can, in the future, achieve your TOEFL ITP score that you want, or you can share your knowledge to your students, perhaps, or your colleagues. And we'll see you at LBI FIB UI if you take our course. Thank you very much. Are.
Okay, thank you very much, Nandia. So that's all for today. Everyone, check out our webinar, our website, and you'll find the slides and everything.